everyone! Today, we're exploring how plants, animals, and humans sense and respond to their environments. Even without nerves or brains, plants can communicate and adapt just like animals and humans. Let's start with plants. Nikki, can you explain how they do it?
Plants may not have brains or nerves, but we still sense and respond to our surroundings through chemical signals. Plant hormones act like messengers, traveling through cells and vascular tissues to trigger specific responses.
Can you walk us through some of those hormones?
Of course, there are 5 main plant hormones. 1. Auxin controls cell elongation. When a plant gets uneven light, auxin collects on the shaded side, causing those cells to grow longer and bend the plant toward the light. That's phototropism. Auxin also helps roots grow downward in response to gravity or gravitropism. Second, cytokinins promote cell division and delay aging in leaves and fruits. They work with auxin to regulate plant growth, making sure cells divide and develop properly. Third, gibberellins, essential for growth and development. They trigger stem elongation, fruit development, and seed germination. When a seed absorbs water, gibberellins are released, signaling the seed to break dormancy and start growing. Fourth, abscisic acid, the stress hormone. It slows down growth and signals the stomata to close during droughts to prevent water loss. It also keeps seeds dormant until conditions are right for germination. And lastly, ethylene regulates aging. It helps fruits ripen, flowers wilt, and leaves fall off during autumn. It's also released when a plant is injured, helping it respond to damage.
That's incredible! Some hormones help plants grow, adapt, and even protect themselves.
Exactly! And it doesn't stop there. Hormones like gibberellins are crucial for seed germination. When a seed absorbs water, it releases gibberellins, which activate enzymes that break down stored starch into sugar. This gives the growing seedling the energy it needs to sprout and push through the soil.
Can you give an example of how hormones affect plant movement?
Sure! Take phototropism. When light shines on a plant, the hormone auxin moves to the shaded side of the stem, causing those cells to grow longer. This makes the plant bend toward the light, optimizing photosynthesis. Auxin is like a growth signal, telling cells to stretch where it's needed most.
Do plants sense more than just light?
Absolutely. We respond to gravity through gravitropism. Roots grow downward while stems grow upward. And with thigmotropism, we respond to touch. Vines, for example, curl around objects by growing faster on one side than the other. It's a slow process, but helps us find support and grow stronger.
What about stress responses?
When we face drought, we release abscisic acid, which signals the stomata to close and conserve water. And if a plant is under attack, it can release airborne chemicals to warn nearby plants, which then produce toxins or bitter compounds to defend themselves. It's like a quiet chemical conversation.
That's amazing, Nikki! Now let's switch to animals. Ashley, how do animals sense and respond to changes?
Animals rely on their nervous system to detect and respond to stimuli almost instantly. Sensory neurons like high-speed messenger picking up signals like sound, touch, or danger, and transmitting electrical impulses to the brain or spinal cord. The brain, acting as the control center, rapidly processes this information and sends instruction through motor neurons, directing the body on how to react.
That sounds like an incredibly fast process. How do these signals travel so quickly?
It's all thanks to action potentials. Electrical impulses generated by the movement of ion across the neuron's membrane. When a neuron is stimulated, it undergoes a rapid shift in electrical charge known as depolarization. This charge travels down the axon until it reaches the axon terminal, where something fascinating happens.
Oh, what happens at the axon terminal?
This is where the synapse comes into play. A synapse is a connection between two neurons where signals are transmitted. The neuron sending the signals is called presynaptic neuron. while the one receiving it is the postsynaptic neuron. Between them is a tiny gap called a synaptic cleft.
So, how does the signal jump from one neutron to another?
Great question! When an action potential reaches the axon terminal of presynaptic neuron, it triggers the opening of calcium ion channels. Calcium ion rush in, causing synaptic vesicles, tiny sacs filled with neurotransmittin, to fuse with the cell membrane and release their contents into the synaptic cleft.
That's amazing! What happens next?
The neurotransmitter crosses the synaptic cleft and binds a specific receptor on the postsynaptic neuron. This binding process generates a new electrical signal, continuing transmission of information. If enough neurotransmitter bind, the postsynaptic neuron fires its own action potential and the signal keeps traveling.
So, nervous system communication is both electrical and chemical?
Exactly. Electrical impulses carry the message within neuron, while neurotransmitter ensure the signal jumps across synapses to the next neuron. This rapid communication is crucial for survival. Imagine a gazelle sensing a lion. It must react instantly. The nervous system fires signals to its muscle within milliseconds, triggering an immediate escape response.
That makes sense. Do all animals have the same type of nervous system?
Not quite. Nervous system vary among animals. Invertebrates like insect and worm have simpler system with ganglia, cluster of nerve cells that act as small processing centers. Vertebrates like mammals and birds have fully developed brains capable of handling complex information. Even simpler creatures like jellyfish rely on nerve nets, which help them to coordinate movement without a centralized brain.
Wow, that really shows how animals are built for survival, no matter their complexity.
Exactly. Whether it's a highly developed brain or a basic nerve net, every animal has evolved to process information efficiently, ensuring their survival in a constantly changing environment.
And finally, let's talk about humans. Danica, how do we sense and respond to changes around us?
Humans have a highly advanced communication system that allows us to respond to changes quickly and efficiently. This is made possible by the combined actions of the nervous and endocrine systems.
How do they work together?
The nervous system is like a high-speed messaging network. If you touch something sharp, sensory neurons immediately send an action potential to your spinal cord, which sends a motor response to pull your hand away even before your brain processes the pain. This is called a reflex action, and it's essential for survival.
That sounds a lot like how animals react to danger. But what about hormones? How do they fit in?
That's where the endocrine system comes in. Unlike the nervous system, which works in milliseconds, the endocrine system uses hormones for slower, long-lasting responses. Hormones are chemical messengers secreted by the endocrine system directly into the bloodstream, where they travel to target cells and regulate body processes.
Can you give an example?
Sure! When you experience stress, your hypothalamus located at the base of your brain sends a signal to your adrenal glands, which release adrenaline. This hormone increases your heart rate, dilates your pupils, and directs more blood into your muscles, preparing you for a fight or flight response. This reaction is controlled by the sympathetic division of the nervous system.
And what happens after the stress is gone?
That's when the parasympathetic division takes over. It controls the rest, digest, and function, slowing your heart rate and helping your body recover. Another hormone, cortisol, helps bring your body back to normal by regulating metabolism and immune responses.
So humans use both fast and slow communication systems?
Exactly. The nerve impulse handle immediate response like reflexes and movement, while hormones regulate long-term processes such as growth, metabolism, and even emotions. This dual communication system allows humans to react quickly to sudden changes while also maintaining homeostasis, our body internal balance.
Homeostasis sounds important. What other hormones help maintain it?
Many hormones contribute to homeostasis. For example, the pancreas plays a major role by regulating blood sugar levels. It releases insulin when glucose levels are high. helping cells absorb sugar and glucagon when glucose levels are low, triggering the release of stored sugar.
And what about the growth and metabolism?
Great question. The pituitary gland, also called master gland, controls several of endocrine glands. It releases growth hormones, which stimulate development, and signals the thyroid gland to produce thyroid hormones, which regulates metabolism.
I've heard of the thyroid before. Does it have other functions?
Yes, the thyroid also produces calcitonin, which lowers calcium levels. It works alongside the parathyroid glands, which produce parathyroid hormone, PTH, to increase blood calcium levels together. They maintain proper calcium balance in the body.
That's fascinating. Are there any other endocrine glands?
Definitely, the pineal gland in the brain produces melatonin, which regulates our sleep-wake cycle, also known as our circadian rhythm. The thymus located behind the sternum produces hormones like thymosin, which helps develop T cells for the immune system.
And what about reproductive hormones?
Both males and females have glands which produce sex hormones. In males, the testes produce testosterone, responsible for muscle growth, bone density, and sperm production. In females, the ovaries produce estrogen and progesterone, which regulates menstrual cycle and prepare the body for a pregnancy.
Wow! The endocrine system controls so much. How does it make sure everything stays balanced?
It relies on feedback mechanism. There are two types. One, positive feedback mechanism, which amplifies changes. For example, during childbirth, oxytocin increases contractions until the baby is born. Two, negative feedback mechanism, which reverse change to maintain stability. An example is how insulin lowers blood sugar after a meal.
That's incredible! So our bodies are constantly adjusting to keep us functioning properly?
Yes, whether it's responding to external changes like temperature and stress or internal changes like blood sugar levels, our nervous and endocrine system work together to keep everything in balance. This ability to adapt and regulate ourselves is what makes us human, such efficient and resilient beings.
It's amazing how every organism has its own way of sensing and responding to the world.
As plants, our chemical signals might be slow, but they let us grow toward light, sense gravity, and survive droughts. Hormones guide every stage of our lives, from seed germination to flowering and fruit production.
And in animals, speed is everything. Quick, precise nerve signals help us escape danger, hunt, and navigate complex environments.
For humans, it's best for both worlds to never handle immediate reactions. While hormones ensure long-term stability, it's an intricate, beautiful system that keeps us alive and thriving.
Thank you all for this discussion. Whether through slow-growing vines, sprinting animals, or complex human brains, life's ability to communicate and adapt is truly extraordinary.